Say when.
Campers of Camp Gan Israel Florida, our 6th Gear Division, we have something very, very special for you. Very, very good. We've learned, especially over the past 9 days, the importance of the Geula, the importance of Moshiach, how much we want Moshiach to come. And the Rebbe said, by learning about Moshiach, we are bringing Moshiach closer. But there's so much more than what we've learned already in camp that is actually happening that you may not even realize. We have the pleasure of having the Rebbe Shliach to Poway, California, Rabbi Mendy Rubenfeld, who has taken from his Shlichus. He's running a camp. He has his Chabad house he's taking care of. He's taking time. And it's not his first time actually fabricating with us. He's come before, so we are really, really, really appreciative of him taking the time to fabric with us again. He has a phenomenal presentation, and I'm not going to take more time. Give him a round of applause, certainly. And with all due respect, with a great pleasure, Rabbi Rubenfeld, it's all yours.
Okay, Shakaya, thanks for having me. Hi, guys. 6th grade, Florida, CGI Florida, best camp in the world. Okay, so just before I start the presentation, which is fun to watch because it's got a lot of videos and interesting things, I want to talk about one thing, and that is something that I think most of us don't know what's going on in the world. And if you spoke to your parents, and I think you're going to be speaking to your parents soon, right? Camp is ending soon. And you ask them about what's going on in the world, probably most of them will tell you about a whole bunch of things that are not so great. Because that's what people like to talk about, and that's what people hear about all the time. But the truth of the matter is that those things are not really new. Most of them. Some of them are new, but most of them are not new. The world has seen many difficult things in the past. You know, we've been through the Holocaust. We've been through the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. We've been through so many difficult times in history. It would take all day just to talk about them, right? Just to list them off. But there's many, many special things that are going on. And it's hard for you guys to know because you haven't lived a full life yet. But trust me when I tell you that if someone came to me and said, what's the greatest threat, external threat, not the Yetzer Hara inside, that we all know that's everybody's biggest threat, external, outside of us, what's the greatest threat that we face? I'd be curious to know if you can unmute label and maybe raise a couple hands. I'd like to hear, what is the greatest threat to the Jewish people, to Eretz Israel, to what would you say it is?
Chaim, loud and clear. The Arabs attacking Eretz Israel.
Good. Stop right there. That's what I was hoping you would say. Chaim, we're on the same page over here. So let me share the screen with you quickly. And I'm going to tell you something. It says here, El Al receives official permission to fly over Saudi Arabia. The duration of Israeli Airlines eastbound flights is expected to shorten considerably beginning next week. So this article right here that you're seeing is really an incredible thing. It's such a Moshiach thing if you know how to look at it, and that's what I'm going to try to show you today. It's something that's so fantastic that it would, to really understand it, I'd love for you to talk to your parents about it, for you to really get what's going on. Now, the label, can you see? Okay.
We see you. We hear you.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. As long as you don't detach it, what's it called? What I'll do is I'll have everybody have you. This will be better for everybody. You could always have it on.
Yeah. Okay. This is the presentation, so I don't have to change it. Okay. So if everybody could shake your heads back and forth a little bit and read what it says. What does it say? Open your eyes. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to do today, is to show you that the times we're living in are very special times. They're very, very special times that we're living in. It's not special enough until we see the escalas of Moshiach, which has happened today. And there's no reason for Moshiach not to come today. Literally no reason. Actually, if Moshiach doesn't come today, every one of us should be completely shocked. because it's been so long that we've been waiting. And then we have a Rebbe, and our Rebbe tells us that Moshiach is coming in our generation. And that was such a long time ago that every day that passes is a complete shock to our system. That's the way it should be, really. And we don't understand why. And it's not like, will Moshiach come today? Why today? That's one way of looking at it, but that's wrong. The proper way to look at it is, how could Moshiach not come today? It's been so long we've been waiting for Moshiach. The Rebbe told us Moshiach's coming. That was 35 years ago. And now we're still here waiting. It's unbelievable. It's unacceptable. So I'm going to try to help you open your eyes. Some of you seen these things. I also, how much time do we have right now, Rabbi Leila?
Between 25 and 30 minutes.
Okay, so it should be enough time for me to show you at least some of the new things that I added here.
You're saying there's stuff that you have that I didn't see last time?
Yeah, a little bit, not much. I haven't really updated it in a couple of months, but there's always extra things changing, but they're not so fundamental that it changes the whole presentation. If you have the idea like you do, Label, and some of the campers have seen it, then you understand the difference. These are good changes.
So just to put this in perspective for the campers here, what you're showing is basically simani hagiula, signs that in this world, even though Mashiach didn't reveal himself, you already see how the world is transitioning to a Mashiach world, and it's so smooth that it's so part of the world that we don't see. Yeah. It doesn't look miraculous. It looks like it's so normal.
Right. And if I made a bet with you that these campers, these incredible 6th grade campers, if they went to their parents and asked them, probably none of their parents would know that Saudi Arabia, which is an enemy of Israel up until now, has allowed Israel to fly over their airspace. That is such a major thing. It's so incredible, really. But most parents would not even know what happened. It's incredible. It's amazing. Something like this, which is earth-shattering. Because if you came to 15 years ago and told someone, oh, yeah, Saudi Arabia lets Israel fly over their airspace, they're not going to believe it. They just would not believe it. And now it happened, and people don't even know it happened. It's not even front page news. It's just like, whatever. You got to dig for it. That's how incredible it is. That's how amazing. So what did the Rebbe say over here? This is a combination of 2 sichos from the Rebbe. The Rebbe says, in our times, we are witnessing signs of redemption in the world. And it is tremendously upsetting to see that the Yidden have their eyes closed and don't take note of what is occurring, what's going on. The Rebbe is saying it's so sad that we don't see what's happening. Primarily, these signs are changes in the way that the world leaders are acting towards Yidden and Jewish values. The opposition to Jewish observance by a number of regimes has ended, most notably the former Soviet Union, where approximately 1/3 of the Jewish people have found themselves in a position to observe the Torah and its mitzvahs for the first time in 70 years. That was back then. The Rebbe was talking about it. That was huge. Furthermore, the manner in which non-Jews perceive Jewish observance, even in the Western world, has changed radically in the past generation. Consider that before World War II, many thousands of Jewish families found themselves unable to make a living if they were keeping Shabbos, even in America. Yet now we find Yidden who proudly display their beards and payas and accepted and respected by a broad cross-section of society. And then the Rebbe says, however, the painful fact is that the Yidden have all taken this for granted and failed to recognize that these are unprecedented changes. That means it's never happened before, of messianic proportion. That means if you take the last 3,000 years and you look through all of them for such things, and you can't find them anywhere, and now they're happening. The redemption is no longer an unrealistic dream. We merely have to open our eyes, the Rebbe says, to see that the time of redemption has arrived, indeed arrived. Okay. Now I'm going to show you some examples of things that are changing. So what does the pasuk say? It says, "Az tipakachna ene ivrim v'azne chershim tipakachna." Tipasachna. It says, then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf will be unstopped. That means deaf people will be able to hear when Moshiach comes. The blind will be able to see when Moshiach comes. Yeshaya Hanavi said this.
You want to pick the volume up.
I got mine maximized.
Good.
But there's nothing here. I'm just showing it. Okay.
His central vision is completely gone.
Is it loud enough?
I'll make it louder by my end. Go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you see this guy vision. When he looks at things, the middle of the vision, the most important part, is gone, and it's getting worse and worse.
But that's about to change, and Oxford's John Radcliffe Hospital. But this will be a world first. Never before has a robot been used to operate inside the eye. Inside, it removes a membrane just 1/100 of a millimeter thick, shown in blue, which is covering the retina.
So if you look at this eye, I just want to explain the problem. There's a small sliver, something growing in the back of the eye that doesn't allow the person to see. And as that gets bigger, blindness gets bigger. Okay? But it's so thin that no human being can do surgery on that. But watch this.
Allowing the whole of the retina to close. Just 2 days later, and the results are clear.
I can see it's 22 minutes past 9.
So you just saw a video of a person who is blind or going blind, and a certain kind of blindness. It's very popular, unfortunately. Not popular, it's very prevalent. It's the most common form of blindness for people who are born with sight. And he's not blind anymore. Because of a computer can go inside and remove that thin membrane, which is 1/100 of a millimeter thick, which is so thin, it's like a hair, smaller than a hair. And now we can remove that. We didn't have the ability to do it till a couple of years ago. So from the time the Navi said that the blind are going to see when Moshiach comes, till now, that wasn't possible, unless the tzaddik gave a bracha, right? But now, you just saw an example of it. You saw a person who was blind, at least partially, and he would have gone completely blind like they all do. And now he can see. He's not blind anymore. He's not going to go blind. That is absolutely a miracle. But the cool thing is, it's not a miracle that's coming from Shemayim alone. It's a miracle that's coming through our human achievements. We do something on earth, we discover something. Hashem lets us discover something, and now we can actually cancel blindness, not for one person. Because let's say you had a tzaddik and gave a bracha to someone to see, that one person can see. Everyone else is blind, still can't see. Today, if you figure out a way to do a surgery and allow someone to see or hear, now millions of people can do it. And we don't have to have that kind of blindness anymore. Here's another cool example. Watch this.
Very cool.
Behind some of the biggest innovations in legs, MIT's Director of Biomechatronics, Hugh Hare.
We do the human testing on the ankle.
Hugh's invented a new generation of bionic ankles with the help of military funding.
Jen here has a pad that's communicating wirelessly, of course, to the bionic ankle. She's tuning various parameters. The timing of the ankle thrust is very, very important to walking efficiency. I mean, just by looking at it from here, I mean, if he was wearing the wrong glasses, he wouldn't.
We were wearing pants. We think it's going to be normal.
Just like you don't realize I'm wearing two. Wow. Let me show you.
He's the owner, and he has both feet. And he didn't know that.
Articulating ankle. So it adapts. I can slowly. I can suddenly put it down. The ankle.
Then how does it know when it's supposed to give power when
It's just responding to my body. The ankle has no idea that I'm going up step.
You guys realize he has 2 feet off the ground.
Or going down, but push
Jump.
the feeling.
that is
Yeah. Sounds on a very 33 seasons fixed.
So there's going to be a lot of rapid different examples, but I just showed you where the Navi says that the people who don't have legs or can't walk will be able to walk. I don't think that that's going to be the end of it. We're going to be able to grow people's legs back so they'll have proper legs without metal pieces, but it's still incredible that it's actually happening. You just saw with your eyes that someone who has no legs is jumping up the stairs as if he had legs. That was not even possible 15 years ago. I knew a man in our community here. Actually, his wife just passed away, but he passed away earlier. He was missing part of his leg and he couldn't walk. And that was not that many years ago, 15 years ago. And now people with no legs can walk and run and jump. It's unreal. Now, remember, it's not just cool things. It's all things that the Torah said is going to happen when Moshiach comes, and now it's happening. These two mice are twins. This picture alone can get people so excited because you see the healthy mice, the mouse, the young one on the left, and the old one, and they're the same age. But they have ways to change things inside of them genetically that can keep them young and healthy. And we know when Moshiach comes, people are not going to get old. Here's a man talking about no more age. Diseases, no more diseases. It says here, if you're alive in 30 years, you'll be alive in 100 years. And then at the bottom, it says, stand together against aging and death, which was never spoken in the world before. Now it's a normal thing that they're saying. Aging is not okay. The world, the Goyim, and Yidden who don't know about Torah are talking about this concept like it's normal. That's a Moshiach concept, guys. No one spoke about it when I was a kid. Nobody. Just no one spoke this way. And I'm not that old. I look old, but I'm not that old. And we're talking your Zaidi. Forget about your Zaidis and Bubbies. No one ever spoke like this. Only now they're speaking like this. So remember, this is not normal. This is special. No more hospitals by 2030. Okay, this is a beautiful thing. I think I might skip. Well, we'll see. I have the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, talking like this also, and I put it in here. You'll see it. That's a little new clip I found. It says, the Rambam says, and the Rambam didn't live that long ago, only about 800 years ago. But the Rambam writes, in the end of the Rambam talks about Moshiach. I'm sure you guys have learned about it. In that time, Moshiach's times, there will be neither famine or war, envy or competition, for good will flow in abundance, and all the delights will be freely available as dust. One of the reasons why Russia is invading Ukraine, according to many, is because they're scared. They're scared, and they want things, and they want power, and they want gas and energy and things like that. If there was unlimited energy and no one had any problems, it wasn't like, oh, you're going to take it away from me, I'm not going to have. There won't be a need for war. And even this war that's going on now, with Russia and Ukraine, it's the first war that I can remember in my lifetime that most people feel is absolutely unacceptable. Now, where does that come from that people should say that war is unacceptable? War has been happening from the beginning. Adam and Chava had two sons, one killed the other one. The very beginning of time, people have been fighting. And that was normal. If you were a stronger country, everyone expected you to beat up the smaller country. That was normal. All of a sudden now, Russia says, okay, we're bigger than you, we're going to beat you up. And the world says, excuse me? That's not okay. That itself is such a Mashiach thing. The world is thinking, the mindset of the world has changed. That war is not accepted. It's not accepted. It's not acceptable. So watch this.
Steve Pinker has showed us that, in fact, we're living during the most peaceful time ever in human history, to a point that we have the potential in the next 3 decades to create a world of abundance. We truly are living in an extraordinary time. Ladies and gentlemen, what gives me tremendous confidence in the future is the fact that we are now more empowered as individuals to take on the grand challenges of this planet.
Elon Musk, great to see you. How?
So if you see the date of this interview, April 17, 2022, not that long ago. And it's called A Future Worth Getting Excited About, a TED Talk. And this is not a proper TED Talk, it's an interview. Just listen closely to what he says, okay? Because you saw what the Rambam says. And that man before is Peter Diamandis. He does not know who the Rambam is probably. And Elon Musk is a very smart guy, but he doesn't know who the Rambam is. But watch what they're saying, the same things.
How are you? Good, how are you? This really will be a world of abundance. Any goods and services will be available to anyone who wants them. It'll be so cheap to do us.
So you heard it here. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. He's saying that it's going to be a world of abundance. Just like the Rambam said, the same words. It's amazing. So I have a few examples here. Reb Label, should I continue with the video presentation? Because I'm not going to be able to finish it. Or should we?
The videos bring to life the message, but
okay.
whatever you
tell me when to stop.
Okay. You spoke to them. You can share them about your brother-in-law's school, Chavadas, as well.
So these are the reasons why things cost money. But we have the sun, and the sun produces so much energy. The Rebbe spoke about it. And look how the sun is going up and up. The energy that we're getting from the sun is growing tremendously. There's another thing called direct air capture, where they're grabbing carbon from the air, and you could use it for all kinds of amazing things. And this is energy. So instead of gas going up in price, we won't need gasoline at all. We'll use energy, electric. So here's a couple of incredible things. Like I started showing you, El Al was allowed to fly over Saudi Arabia, but this is UAE. They've been already making peace with Israel, and the world is getting better because of this. There are billions and billions of dollars crossing between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, which were major enemies of Israel. Major enemies. I know this because a friend of mine wanted to go there, and they wouldn't let him into the country with a stamp of Israel. He's an American citizen. If he had Israel stamps in his passport, they would not let him into the country for years. This is just maybe 10 years ago. And now they're doing business with Israel, where billions of dollars are going back and forth. And they're not just to make money. They're to make the world a better place. They're actually improving the world. The world is gaining. The world is getting better because of these things. This is amazing. A lot of people thought when they saw this picture, they thought it was photoshopped. That's how shocking it is.
صار امبارح هو مرحله جديده بالعلاقه بين الدوله العالميه والدوله النوع الغير في العالم السلام لمح.
I didn't stop it in time. If you saw what that guy was saying, it's like it's changed. It's over. There's peace coming, and it's in Lebanon. Lebanon, if you know your history, you know Lebanon was not a friend of Israel's. Up until a couple years ago, they were. Even till now, there's still problems. But the fact that they're talking this way is incredible. This is also March 4th. I didn't write the year down, but I think 2020. And this person writes, their name is Ibtisam Zegiga, and he or she, I don't know if it's a man or woman, writes, "Dear brothers and sisters, join the Saudi hashtag." And if you could read Arabic, you know what that says. This recent Saudi Twitter movement believes that there is no importance of the Temple Mount to Muslims, and they're waiting for the Jewish third temple, a new era, one of peace. Isn't that incredible? And then this person went to Google and took a picture of the Beis Hamikdash coming down on the Har HaBayis, and Hasidim with Streimlach standing there, davening to Hashem and being so happy and saying the brachas. Moshiach comes. Okay, I'm not going to go through this right now, this concept of how the world is changing so quickly. You have to...
Tell them with the paper.
You fold the paper, yeah. I'm skipping some of the fun stuff, but there's not enough time to do everything. I'll just show you some more examples. It's a two-story house printed by a machine in 2 days. And this is what the future looks like, where they'll be able to print homes very quickly. Beautiful homes.
2 days?
Cheaper, much cheaper, 2 days. Cheaper and stronger than our homes today. And nicer. And check it. This is amazing. This is in New Jersey. Anyone here from New Jersey?
We're not from New York.
New York? Watch. This is very big. People say, how are we going to feed all the people of the world? We have a new way to feed people. Watch this.
It's a new way to make food.
You can't see it on the outside, but this old industrial building is an agricultural oasis. Inside this former laser tag arena, about 250 kinds of leafy greens are growing in huge quantities to be sold to local supermarkets and restaurants. This is Aero Farms, a massive indoor vertical farm in Newark, New Jersey.
Our mission is to build farms and cities all over the world so people have access.
Who thinks he's a Yid? I do. His name is David Rosenberg.
Access to fresh, great tasting, highly nutritious food.
Crops are still more than 30 feet high inside this 30,000 square foot space. They're grown using aeroponic technology. AeroFarm says the root misting system allows them to use 95% less water than a regular field farm.
90,000% less water.
Herbicides. Instead of soil, plants are grown with reusable cloth made from recycled plastic. And instead of the sun, there are rows and rows of specialized LED lighting.
A lot of people say sunless. Wait, plants need sun.
By the way, I couldn't hear what he said for the longest time, so I'll tell you. He says people say sunless, no sun. Plants need sun. If you don't have sun, you don't have plants. He says not true.
In fact, the plants don't need yellow spectrum, so we're able to reduce our energy footprint by doing things like reducing certain types of spectrum.
This sophisticated climate-controlled system cuts the growing cycle in half, so crops can be grown all year round, but with a much smaller impact on the environment.
Let's just look at this amazing changes that we already have now. You can grow up to 1,000% greater yields, up to 1,000% greater yields than regular farms. 99% less water if you do it properly. Year-round produce, winter, summer. If you live in the East Coast, you cannot get fresh vegetables from the ground in the winter because it's snow on the ground, too cold. But now you can. Locally grown, so you don't need to ship it. It's really fresh because you know when you get a package from California that grew in the summer, it grew in the winter, and you get it in your, what do you have over there? You have ShopRite or Albertsons or something, right? And Kroger's, and you open up the thing, it says fresh. Yeah, it's 2.5 weeks old because it had to grow, had to be cut, had to be packaged, had to be shipped to you. It's not possible that it got there in less than 2 weeks. So it's not really fresh. But this is going to be fresh because it grew inside your city. It's organic, no pesticides. And look at this thing. At the end, it says, from seed to salad in half the time that it takes today. It's pretty amazing.
Guys.
I can't see it. Clap one time if you've ever tasted.
Rabbi, the video. Rabbi?
Yeah.
We couldn't hear the audio of the video, so you may want to tell us what the video said.
Okay. I'm going to tell you now. Clap one time if you've ever tasted Impossible Burger or Beyond Burger.
Okay, fine.
Okay, thank you for clapping. Well, I like that stuff a lot, but this is not that. This is much different. This is actually much better than that. This is real meat that's growing like meat grows, just not in an animal. Watch this.
There's a technology that exists that allows us to, for all intents and purposes, have our bacon and
So this is a technology that lets them grow meat in a lab. No animal has to live or die for us to eat this meat, and it's real meat. From if you look at it from on a cell level, it's real meat.
Yes.
In Tel Aviv, Israel. So this is the first time that they actually. Oh, what happened there? Oh, whoa! It's a little cut off. Okay, so that video is a little messed up. Anyway, the bottom line is that is an example of where our food can come from in the future. Already now, but it still has to be upscaled, and then we won't have to hurt any animals, or I don't mean just hurting them by when we kill them, because when we chef them, there's no pain. But in their lifetime, it's actually not easy to be an animal. Right? It doesn't have to be the case anymore. All right, so a few more examples. I just want to show you. It says in the puzzle. Guys, listen up. We're almost done here. And then later you'll talk about it. I want you to talk about it, but not right now. Listen. It says strangers. It says in the pasuk, "V'amdu zarim v'lo tzayinchim." Strangers will rise and take care of your flock. What does it mean to take care of your flock? It means take care of your work. In the olden days, what did we do? We were shepherds. So the pasuk, the Navi says 2,700 years ago, he says that something strange is going to take care of your work for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is really cool. Yeah, I've seen
The robot arm.
It doesn't This is exactly my own.
Five-star chef, all your meals you do every day. This is the dream goal that Molly Robotics is trying to accomplish. They've created the first fully automated and intelligent robots that learn recipes, cook all kinds of foods with remarkable precision. And they
This was 7 years ago, guys. That's imagine how much has evolved.
This futuristic-looking workstation is equipped with advanced robotic arms and hands that can lift kitchen utensils, measure liquids, crack eggs, you name it, they can do it. Master Chef winner Tim Anderson was hired on as Molly's development chef and helped the robotics team teach the robots how to cook by using motion capture gloves and wristbands, much like a video game. This means you can potentially repeat the movements of other famous chefs and have a meal prepared for you indirectly by, let's say, Chef Gordon Ramsay. You're in denial! He believes that they can do devices are done for communications, what vacuum cleaners are done for cleaning.
Oh yeah, they're reviving animals. This is cloning. Yeah, they're cloning them.
This is not cloning. This is about
They're
continuing to live
reviving the cells.
forever.
They're reviving the cells.
So you see, Moshiach coming, not like we left Mitzrayim, but with the world, the technology of the world. That means we're discovering Hashem's power in the world. And we're realizing that Moshiach is actually coming. It's really happening. It's taking way too long. Hopefully today, no longer, and we'll dance together in Yerushalayim. But it's pretty amazing. And of course, we know it's up to us. We have to tip that scale. Something we're going to do with the last piece in the puzzle.
Okay, boys, first of all, a big round of applause for Rabbi Rubenfeld. We're happy to see you. We're not finished yet. Sit down, please. Sit down, please. Guys. Is there anybody who has a question, a serious question, to ask Rabbi Rubenfeld? Do we have a question? Yes. Loud and clear.
What is the animals like not dying after Moshiach?
Say that again?
What is the animals not dying after Moshiach?
What? The question again, if you didn't hear it, what does animals not dying? In other words, the fact that we're able to grow this fake meat, in other words, saving animals' lives, what does that have to do with Moshiach?
So, first of all, come a whole bunch of things. Number one, it's not fake meat. It's actual real meat. It's just grown without hurting an animal. And in general, Moshiach comes, there shouldn't be any tzar b'lechaim. That's for sure not, right? One of the mitzvahs that the goyim are given, and the Yidden, of course, is not to do tzar b'lechaim. And in today's world, in order for us to eat meat, if you ever go to a farm, those big farms, unfortunately, there is a tzar to the chaim, to the animals. There's no other way, because I did ashkacha on a dairy farm. When the babies are born, they're taken away from their mothers. For 3 months, they have to live in this very narrow cell. It's like a prison till they get strong enough to run around. That's not fun for the animal. We don't want that. And we do that just to get milk. But let's say we didn't have to get milk from the animals. We can grow the cells and it'll be milk and meat and so on. It'll be pretty amazing. Also, another thing it says when Moshiach comes, that we're going to eat chazir. Chazir is pig. It's going to be kosher again. And maybe, I'm guessing, I don't know, but maybe this is one of the ways that it could be that you could eat chazir, because you could just take it from a kosher animal, you change the DNA a little bit, and then it becomes It's the same meat that's called chazer. Someone has a question on the right.
Yossi Kleiman. Loud and clear so we can hear you.
Why is the meat fleshig and why?
Is the meat fleshig and why?
I don't know the answer. I saw there was a article from Eretz Israel. Some of the Rabbanim were talking about it, which I love the fact that they have rabbis discussing whether or not this is fleshig or not. It probably is on some level. It comes from a real animal. So they take one cell or a number of cells from a real animal and they grow them into this bigger flesh. You understand? So it does come from an animal, but it comes from a cell which is so small you can't see it. A single cell. Next question.
Yeah. 1 second, Yitzi. Wait, I can't hear Yitzi. Again. If you're taking a cell from an animal, isn't that Aver Min HaChai?
No. You take it from a shechted animal.
Shechted animal. Okay, yes? One second. I can't hear. Guys, we only have 2 minutes left, so the quieter it is, the faster we can get to more questions. Does that mean the meat does not need to have a hechsher? Does it need to be shechted?
No, I think it does, because if not, maybe it's Aver Min HaChai. If it's not, maybe it comes from a not kosher animal. So it probably does have to have a hechsher to make sure that it's original. The original cells come from a kosher place.
Go to the factory. Do you have to shech that piece of meat that was grown?
Yeah, one time. It's one more shechting, and then from that you can grow probably unlimited amount of meat.
Gonna take 2 more questions, Mendel Levy. Guys, we should also think of other questions besides the meat.
How is it kosher if it's grown meat?
How is it kosher if it's grown meat?
Let me ask you a question. The meat that you eat now, it didn't grow?
No,
it grew on an animal. So this grows outside an animal. In an animal, it takes years for you to get the meat. In these things, in the lab, it takes 2 weeks. It's cheaper, it's faster.
One last question, Zalman Rosenfeld. Does it say anywhere that Moshiach has a time limit when he can come?
Yes. Yeah, and we're at that limit right now. We're pushing that limit every day because it's like Friday afternoon.
He's asking where or when is that limit?
Oh, well, from what I understand, the Gemara talks about the world being 7,000 years. The 7,000th year is Moshiach, right? Like Shabbos. Yom Shekulei Shabbos. We are now afternoon on Friday. So it's time for
He meant 6. He meant 6. Don't worry.
Well, 6,000 years is when Shabbos starts, but the 7,000th year is Shabbos.
You're entering the 7th millennium.
One last question. I can explain. When you're a baby and you're not 1 year old, you're not a year old, then you say just a baby. When they finish a year, they say 1 year old, right? When you finish 2 years, that's when you say 2 years old. Same thing when you're on Friday, when you say we're 5,700, we're not going to count we're 6,000 until we hit 6,000. That's when we start the 7,000. So really, it's Shabbos Kodesh coming, which is Moshiach.
One last question, Ari. Can't hear what? What's the story about candy going on the trees? Is that real or it's just a fake thing?
I think it means that all the things, medanim, things that you consider to be yummy and tasty and wonderful are going to be so abundant that it will be everywhere. And that is real. That's coming right now. That's what Elon Musk said. We're going to live in a world of abundance.
All right. I want to take the opportunity to thank Rabbi Rubenfeld. He'd say way beyond. Thank you very, very much. I want to thank Kitavav. You behaved beautifully. I want to ask Kitavav, you are to be dismissed straight to lineup. You have 20 seconds to be out of the room. Rabbi, 19, yes.
I learned in learning class that...
Speak to him. Label, give me a call, okay?
I will.
Thank you. Rabbi.
Okay,
I learned in learning class that it will say that everything will come naturally. So stuff growing on tree isn't